Okay, we're here on the Wedge Live Morning Show with Deborah Copperud of Minnesota DFL Senate District 61, which includes the Wedge. And we're doing a cooking segment for Thanksgiving week. We're going to cook something you can make for your family this Thanksgiving. That's coming up a little later. But first, we're going to talk about your new cookbook that's done in conjunction with DFL Senate District 61.
We're rolling. We're rolling.
This is a real thing. Real thing.
None of you have the balls to stop this. Stop this.
I've got plenty of time. I have nothing else going on today.
We're in the Wedge neighborhood right now.
It's a fundraiser. So we're selling it for $35 and it's called Taste the Trifecta, a culinary celebration of the Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party victory. So it's a celebration of last year's amazing legislative session. Our Senate district, you know, we usually vote whoever gets the DFL endorsement. We always vote blue. And so when we do our caucuses and conventions, we usually raise more money than we need to put on those events. So then we take that extra money and we support candidates in tighter races in the metro area and even in greater Minnesota.
How many recipes do you have in this cookbook?
I don't know.
You don't know?
That's a good
Lots of
question.
luminaries. I was impressed with, we've got, of course, Lisa Goodman's recipe is what we'll be cooking today. There's a recipe from me. I don't know if it's ethical for a straight down the line journalist like me to submit a recipe for a DFL cookbook, but I'm friends with you. That's my motivation, was to help you personally.
Thank you.
It's not political at all, my involvement.
Thank you. Well, I reached out to anybody I had ever sat with at a convention or a caucus.
So you weren't picky.
No, I wasn't.
Okay. Anyone who has ever been to a DFL convention was eligible to be in the celebrity cookbook.
Or I saw on a Zoom or in a committee meeting. Yes.
Okay, so we have Lisa Goodman, council member in Ward 7, outgoing, 26 years in Ward 7, Lisa Goodman. We salute her service. Senator Scott Dibble, who is my senator. Council Vice President Lene Palmisano. What recipe did she submit? Do you know that off the top of your head?
It's street corn salad.
Street corn salad.
Like Mexican street corn, but salad form.
Representative Kelly Moeller.
She is one of the representatives, when she was campaigning, we sent either door knockers to her district or money to her campaign.
DFL chair, is that the title, Brianna Rosalie? Chair, right? Not president?
She's the chair of the Minneapolis
DFL, yeah.
Party.
Representative Aaron Priest. Clint Connor, who ran for mayor last time.
I sat with him at the last SD16.
We both met.
CD5.
We met him at the same time, Clint Connor. He's our friend. Representative Jamie Long, who represents 61B. Do I have that right?
I think so.
Mitra Jalali submitted one. Dan Thomas Commons, the master of parliamentary procedure. Deborah, you do podcasts, right?
Yes.
You host your own podcast.
Yes.
Is it wise to do a cooking segment on a podcast?
This is a first for me. Being on a video podcast is also a first for me.
This is the first time I've been over to your house. We're doing this in Deborah's kitchen. Should we get started cooking Lisa Goodman's recipe, or do we have more to say about this cookbook? Is there anything like wild and crazy in this cookbook that we need to be highlighting? Maybe my recipe?
Aldi pizza with pizzazz. There's 2 Aldi recipes. Yours, which shows us how to doctor up a frozen Aldi pizza. And then Sandy Cleland, who is the longtime secretary for SD61. When we would have monthly central committee meetings, she would always bring a batch of brownies to the meetings before the pandemic. So I reached out to her and asked her for her recipe, and it's Aldi box mix.
Really? Is it called that?
That's what it's called in the cookbook.
I love that
Aldi brownies,
two of the
yeah.
few recipes in this book are both Aldi recipes. That's quite an endorsement.
It's very on brand. That's what I submitted to your podcast to make, but then you wanted to make the noodle kugel.
I will do anything Lisa Goodman themed. I'm obsessed.
I want it to be a tribute and not a burn.
Oh, there will be no.
Council.
There will. I don't have my soundboard, so I can't play any clips of her complaining about how long it's taking us to cook this recipe.
Okay.
But
I have nothing else going on.
we're just cooking food. How could I? If we don't burn her recipe, there's no burns.
Okay.
Lisa Goodman's on her way out. We have to be kind.
So I have an apron for you. Do you want to be
let's do aprons.
chickens or Chewbacca?
Give me Chewbacca.
Okay.
We've got our aprons on now, and we're ready to cook Lisa Goodman's noodle kugel for fall and winter events. Should we read her description?
I think you should.
This is a direct quote from Lisa Goodman about her recipe. This is a sweet noodle kugel, often served as a side dish or an entree in a vegetarian meal. Some people like to add raisins. I am not one of those people. Enjoy. Council Member Lisa Goodman. This is on page 44 of the Trifecta.
Taste the Trifecta.
Taste the Trifecta cookbook.
Which, if you're interested, you can order it online. Our order form is pinned on Twitter and on Facebook on the Senate District 61 or SD 61 DFL page. You can pick it up at a convention like the Senate District Convention, which will be held in March, I think March 16th. Mm-hmm. If there's any left, it'll be at the CD5.
It's going to go fast. Lisa Goodman and Wedge live in the same cookbook. How much does it cost?
$35.
$35.
And all proceeds help elect Democrats.
Helped extend the trifecta, right?
Right.
This cookbook helps extend the trifecta, which is doing so much good at the state legislature. All that transportation money.
Transportation money, kids eat lunch, everybody
Yeah.
gets to eat lunch.
Yeah, by the book.
Okay, I think the water's boiling, so we're gonna put in the noodles.
Okay.
So the recipe calls for a 16-ounce bag of egg noodles. It says to cook them until they're almost done. The package says 7 to 9 minutes, so I'm gonna set the timer for 7 minutes. And those will boil. While they're boiling, we'll make the rest of it. I don't know what you call it. The
noodle kugel.
kugel part.
Is that the kugel part?
Those are the noodles, so I guess this is the kugel.
This is a traditional Jewish dish, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it calls for 1/3 cup of sugar, 1 quart of buttermilk. We need 4 eggs. Very good. I feel like we have to keep talking. Okay, and then we are gonna add 1/2 cup of melted butter, and there's a good note in this recipe. You don't want the butter to be too hot.
Okay.
It's melted but not too hot because that would cook the eggs, and we don't want to scramble them. So I melted this earlier.
This is good audio.
Wait till we mix in the noodles.
How long do you think a recipe like this takes?
This to prepare, it's not too long, but you cook it for 45 minutes and then you cook it for another 30 minutes. So you have to plan for all of that time. I'm notorious for starting recipes without reading the whole thing. That looks great.
You think we're done?
I think so.
Okay.
But the noodles are not. So we can mix up the topping while we wait for the noodles.
Let's do that, yeah.
Okay.
You think Lisa Goodman's gonna watch this?
I hope so.
I mean, we're cooking her recipe.
Yeah, I think it's a good one, and it's a fun tribute to her. This is she's done with her service on the council. I don't think she's probably retiring.
Well, you said no burns. I can say that I've heard Mayor Fry's gonna give her a job. That's not really a burn.
Okay.
It's maybe news or
Okay.
rumor.
I have something else for us to banter about while we're waiting for the noodles.
Okay, let's banter.
Okay, I printed out an article from 1997 when Lisa Goodman won her
Back
first
when she was in
election.
her early 30s. Mm-hmm. She was the young person ruining the city back then.
Well, I looked it up because I wanted to see how many women served on the council when she
Well, that's an interesting
was
one.
first on there. Because I was expecting it to be more male dominated. There were actually 8 women.
8 out of 13. Mm-hmm. I wonder what the number is now. We have Elliot Payne. We have Michael Rainville, Jamal Osman, Ellison, Chavez in 9. That's 5.
Well, that's the same makeup as in 1990.
We've made no progress since 1998. St. Paul famously has elected the first all-woman city council in the nation.
I know. I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
And they're all young and they're all from very diverse backgrounds.
They say women are more collaborative. Like there's a bunch of leadership qualities that women are alleged to have that men don't, and that's a reason to elect women leaders. That's what they say. Do you agree with that?
I think women are socialized differently. Women are socialized to be like friendlier and make things smoother. And I don't know if I buy into like the innate biology.
As we've seen this since Mayor Fry lost an election last week, the male style of politics is domination. It's
Swagger.
trying to shove your needs down everyone else's throat, and it didn't work out for him.
Right. Do you want to read these names? It's so interesting because some things change, some things don't. Lisa McDonald.
I like the renegade DFLer Lisa McDonald.
That's a funny article.
She survived a challenge. This is 97? Wow. Lisa McDonald was famously resentful of Lisa Bender for all time, even though Lisa Bender hasn't been around for a couple of years.
Okay, the noodles are finished.
Okay, well, Steve Min was a council member back then when Lisa Goodman started. They call him a lone wolf.
Because he was an independent.
He was targeted by DFLers. Basically a Republican, I think. Any other interesting names here?
Yeah.
Barb Johnson?
It was when Alice Rainville was passed our
This is
seat
quite an
on.
article. Retiring council member Alice Rainville will get to pass the baton to her daughter, Barb Johnson.
Uh-huh.
I don't recognize that. Did Joe Biernot go to jail? Is that his claim to fame?
Oh, I don't know. The one other name I recognized was Cherry Holmes, because one, it's a cool last name, but also lobbyist for that BK on Nicollet, right? Which I learned.
She famously lobbies for a lot of questionable causes. So.
Yeah.
Brian Herron, another one who I think went to jail for a time and has been back on TV recently telling the current city council how to do their jobs. I always think it's weird that if you went to prison for like corruption in your job, that you would show up later and tell other people how they should do their jobs.
It's pretty audacious.
Not that he can't be reformed. Kathy Thurber, I don't know who that is. You should be cooking with, what's his name? David Brower, that guy. How did I forget David Brower's name? You should be cooking with him. He would know all these people.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He would have scrambled those eggs so good.
Okay, the noodles are finished. Should we add them to the kugel?
We should.
Okay, so we are supposed to mix them together and then add them to the glass baking dish. So go ahead and
mix these. If you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/wedgelive, I'm getting the food very close to the camera, so not only will you have our voices, you'll see what we're cooking. You tell me when you feel like this has been mixed. Great audio.
Is that
ASMR?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I should have mic'd up the noodles because they're creating some great sounds. What do you think?
I think that's good.
Okay.
And then we can add them to the baking dish. Now, are you a raisin person?
I think we need to go with, Lisa Goodman is basically the author, and we need to go with the author's intent on this recipe.
Okay, well, I'm a big tent DFLer, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna make everybody happy. So I'm gonna leave a lot of it free of raisins, and then I'm gonna add some raisins.
I had a Lisa Goodman sound clip expressing disapproval. I would play it.
There we go. And then we cook this, we bake it at 350 for 45 minutes. And then after 45 minutes, we take it out, we add the topping, and then we bake it another 30 minutes.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
So we ready for the oven?
We're ready.
Okay, so now we'll mix up the topping. So we have a 1/4 cup of butter. and half a cup of brown sugar and a cup of cornflakes. And then the instructions are to put these in a Ziploc bag.
Okay, mix together cornflakes, brown sugar, and quarter cup melted butter. Usually I pour them into a Ziploc bag and use my hands to distribute the butter and sugar amongst the cornflakes. It's great if they get crushed a little as well. How does your family feel about the fact that you invited someone over to your house to record a cooking segment?
I'm always doing weird stuff for my podcast, so they didn't blink.
Do you want to talk about your podcast?
Sure. So I have a podcast that we put out every 2 weeks. It's called It's My Screen Time Too, and we review kids, television, and movies from a parent's perspective.
Okay.
And we talk about screen time, sometimes Hollywood gossip, sometimes what movies are coming out, sometimes like social science research about what screen time is doing to our kids. And then I did another podcast earlier this year that was just 10 episodes, all about Dr. Benjamin Spock and the history of parenting advice. And it's called Spock Talk.
It's a very family-oriented podcast that you do.
Parenting is kind of my jam right now. Yeah.
I think I have a lot of thoughts about how social media is destroying our brains. Can you talk about that?
Sure.
I think TikTok is a menace.
Yeah.
People say Wedge Live, you should be on TikTok. I tried to be on TikTok. I don't think my my way of producing content is great for TikTok. A lot of text. I do some videos, but when I look at what people are watching, I hear how addicted young people are to TikTok. It's like, I don't know if that's doing us any good.
No, it's probably not.
Yeah.
I don't have TikTok, and I'm not on TikTok, so I can't speak to to your TikTok concerns.
It's a lot of very short videos. What I worry about is if people are getting their news from TikTok. I worry about that very much. And I imagine other people say, well, I can't believe people get their news from Twitter, which is basically what I do. But what I do is superior to whatever's happening on TikTok. This dog looks like it wants to be fed. Are you feeding your dog from the countertop on a regular basis?
No, but she'll catch any crumb.
How are we distributing it, do you think?
I think if you just want to try to sprinkle it, we can spread it if it doesn't get distributed across
A little
the whole
lumpy?
thing. The recipe says 1 cup cornflakes, but I feel like you could probably add like 2 cups.
I think I got it.
I think that looks good, and we'll just spread it around so then it'll get nice and crispy on top.
Okay.
Do you want to do the...
Are we doing the comedy thing where we pretend it's already done? Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Okay, it's ready to go in, Deborah.
Okay. There we go.
Okay.
Some Martha Stewart magic right here.
Okay. So we've waited the correct amount of time. And, whoa, it looks so good, Deborah. Can I put it here?
Yep, that's fine.
Wow. Noodle Kugel for fall and winter events by Lisa Goodman.
Do you want to try it?
We're obligated on our cooking segment. We have to try the thing we just pretended to cook. I'm going to eat it as Lisa Goodman intended, without the raisins.
Okay, I'm going to do raisins. Okay. There you go.
Almost reminds me of macaroni and cheese. Yeah, it's like a sweet macaroni and cheese to me. We didn't put any cheese in here, though.
There's a lot of dairy, though. Buttermilk and butter.
I kind of like it. It reminds me of a recipe my mom cooks for macaroni and cheese, just sweet.
Okay. Can you taste the trifecta?
I can taste the trifecta.
I think it tastes like progressive legislation. I think it.
Did you have one-liners prepared? Did you want to consult your notes for your one-liners? Go ahead, pick up the paper where these are written down and deliver them to the camera. Do you have more?
No, I don't.
Anything else to add, Deborah, as we finish up a serving of Lisa Goodman's noodle kugel?
I think that everybody should go out to your caucus
Next year,
Next
2024.
in February, and you'll want to try to become a delegate to your Senate District convention so that you can help figure out who to endorse for state Senate and the state House. And if you're interested in who gets endorsed for whatever congressional district you live in, for us it's CD5, you try to be a delegate to that. And definitely vote in the primaries and vote in the general election.
It's a presidential year, Deborah. I'm a little concerned. I feel nervous. I remember feeling really bad in 2016. I'm worried that's about to happen again. Not to end on our cooking segment on a down note, but definitely get involved so bad things don't happen. Yeah, negative motivation, I feel, is the most appropriate here.
The absolute least you can do is vote. So definitely get involved, volunteer for DFL endorsed campaigns, put out a yard sign, buy this cookbook,
Yeah.
donate money to your favorite campaigns.
The most important thing you can do to save the country is to buy DFL Senate District 61's Taste the Trifecta cookbook, which was put together by my guest, Deborah Copperud. Thank you for cooking with me today. Maybe the first and last Wedge Live cooking segment. This has been the Wedge Live podcast. I'm your host, John Edwards. Thank you for listening and watching. Go watch us cook on YouTube, youtube.com/Wedge Live. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
This is a real thing. Real thing.
None of you have the balls to stop this. Stop this.
I've got plenty of time. I have nothing else going on today.
We're in the Wedge neighborhood right now. Right now.